What I'm about to say is going to challenge you if you do not live in the United States. But here it goes. Americans don't care or need the metric system. It's not that we think that our measurement system is better. In fact, I will immediately tell you the metric system is superior to the way we measure things. That's a fact. I know that. It makes more sense if you can measure things by 10. It's easier math instead of having to divide by 12. 10. And I'm not good at math. I have an English degree. I'm not good at numbers. So of all people, I should want the metric system. I admit that our system is not the best way. I admit that the metric system is better. But I also admit it's irrelevant to my life in the United States. When you're driving a car, all the signs show up as miles. When you're looking at clearance for passing under a bridge, feet. No matter how small you slice it, inches, whatever, that's how everything is presented to you. There's no reason I need to care about meters. It's not that I don't care. Off the top of my head, I'm like, okay, well, something about your arm, no, that's a yard. See, and we have a yard. Whoever talks about yards, right? Instead of meters. Yeah, I admit we don't have the best system, but it is the system that we use. Even if we're basically the only country that really uses it, it's the system that we use. And to try to imagine caring about the metric system would really just be a waste of our brain space. It wouldn't be worth putting wrinkles in our brains to learn more about the metric system and really be able to instantly convert that. I know that even, here's another example. I've made several videos about my height, 5'9". And a lot of people say, well, could you convert that for me to the metric system? I'm like, I had to go into an online calculator and I still get it wrong. That's how irrelevant the metric system is to the life of an American. But why? Why don't we care? Shouldn't we want to care about the metric system? There's no point for us living here. It's not until we leave this country, and even then, I can still roughly convert things if I'm driving, and I have in the past, but it just doesn't really matter to us. And it's easy for an outsider to think, those arrogant Americans, they're so set in their ways, they're so selfish, all they focus on themselves. But imagine if you were us, and you have two neighbors, Canada and Mexico, and that's it. And I mean, yes, I've traveled the world, but even for me, I haven't left this country in over a decade. So in over a decade, I haven't even thought about the metric system in a way that's relevant in any way. So I think the challenge of this video is for people who don't live in the United States. It's so challenging because this only probably reinforces stereotypes about Americans, that all we care about is ourselves. But it's just like the other videos where I've made as far as talking about geography. I know that the American education system does not focus much on world geography. And all kinds of jokes can be made about all the countries we can't find on a world map. And jokes about how Americans can't find Spain on a map because they don't look in Europe, they look somewhere else. Or they look in, South America. Now granted, that's a complete joke, and that's a joke that people like to make about Americans. But the point is, we don't need to know these things in order to function and be successful Americans. I think that's really what it comes down to. With all of us, we have to think, I've only got so much brain space that I really need to focus on things that really matter to my everyday life. Metric system doesn't matter. World geography, ultimately it doesn't matter. If we have a general understanding, it's good enough. It's not going to hurt us from making money or being successful. It's not holding us back as individuals who live here and work here in the United States. So I make this video to point that out. Can you imagine if you lived in the United States in a world where the metric system really just didn't matter to your everyday life or at all? And it's not that you don't like the metric system or that you think everyone should switch to your system. It's just irrelevant for the lifestyle that we live. So I'll make this video ultimately to say, is there anyone out there outside the United States who can say, okay, I get what you're saying. I get it that you don't need to appreciate the metric system in the United States. I get that. And I get what you're saying, that you actually agree that the metric system is better than the one you've got because it's easier math. Okay, that's cool. I mean, could we at least agree on that? Or, like so many of my videos, did this instantly become, here's the dumb idiot American, I respond back to you after you leave a paragraph long insult at me, and I simply respond, I am wrong, you are right, I am ignorant, I am stupid. I mean, that's what this reduces? Because for me, I make these videos to find out what can we agree on despite our differences. Can we agree metric system is superior? And coexisting with that thought, Americans are independent of needing the metric system. That's the point. Can we agree on that without that turning into an argument, or without insults coming to me and all Americans for being ignorant and our education system failing us and us being self-centered? Can we do that? Can we be so intellectual? You tell me in the comments right here.